really battled. That's been the one consistent, is that the guys have stuck together and worked extremely hard. And now, the results come. Wasn't the prettiest of soccer games, and I just think some of that has to do with the way the game was officiated, and also tactically what Kansas City does well.
The score, can you kind of set that up and what you saw and how you guys were able to succeed? Because your previous free kicks, nothing really, you weren't able to get anything successful there.
Yeah. Talked yesterday and thought it would be a major point or major advantage point for us because of the size we had out there between Schuler, Olave, Borchers, Sabo, Russell. Felt like we could outnumber them with our size. And that was the first, I think, quality service that got into the right portion of in front of the goal. So credit to Kyle for a great service, and credit to Nat for a real composed header.
Jason, talk about Andy Williams. Last couple of games, he's doing a lot, giving away that effort and coming back with us.
Yeah, it's interesting. Seems like this time of year is Andy Williams' time, and he's the amount of work he's putting in right now is incredible, and obviously deserves to keep playing when he does that.
What was the difference in the first half and the second half? It seemed like you guys were really absorbing a lot in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
The second half,
Yeah.
a little bit more.
We just weren't good enough with the ball. I felt like we were really, really rushed in our decisions. Weren't calm enough to be willing to play through their team. We talked all week about, I felt like they were going to put a lot of numbers in our half of the field and press us and make things difficult, and we would have to be willing to occasionally put it into their half and take some territory. But I think, we kind of took that message a little bit too much to heart and weren't looking to try to possess the ball as we typically do. Kept giving it back to them, and then they're a good team. They get a lot of numbers forward. And they were making life difficult for us. So in the second half, halftime, we talked about a couple of ways that I thought we might be able to gain a little bit more possession. When we did that, try to establish some rhythm to the game, although very difficult, the number of times the whistle was blown tonight. But I think in the second half, we got some of that accomplished.
Jason, were you surprised at all by the aggressive approach they took to start the game?
No, I think the last time we were there, I think that they probably, I feel that they walked away from that game and said, this is what we need to do to play against Real Salt Lake. And so we had our team very, very well prepared for it, maybe even a little too prepared, because I think we got some guys real nervous about possessing the ball in our own half of the field, and we're good enough to play through that. But not surprised at all. I think that's a team right now that's trending positively and confidently, and they're going to continue to do that the rest of the way, I would think.
You mentioned the size and how you kind of prepared for that. Did you guys do any positioning changes or make any alterations for the free kicks to kind of play up against that?
No, not really. It's just, I think it's a numbers game, right? I mean, if we have 5 people over 6 feet tall and they have 4, then we need to find the one that's got a bad mark.
Can you talk about the decision to start Schuler as well as his performance
Yeah.
kind of out of position?
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, and Blake, we have confidence in Blake Wagner, and we brought him here for a reason, but I don't feel like he's been with our team long enough. Really, really close, and maybe one more week after one more reserve game, I would feel confident doing that. So wanted to make a decision to put somebody in there that's been with us a long time and has a clear understanding of how we defend and how we play and all the responsibilities that go into that. So he was out of position, and I think he showed himself to be out of position a few times in the first half. But typical of Chris Schuler, he just kept battling, and at the end of the night, you have to say success. We win the game 1-0.
Jason, you mentioned that the soccer game tonight wasn't the prettiest that you guys played for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it say about the momentum that this team has that you're able to still gut
Mm-hmm.
it out and get the victory?
Yeah, it's a point that I brought up at halftime, was that, with as many decisions as the referee was blowing and chopping the game up, and as physical as the game was, that it might not be a night that we were ever going to possess the ball and string together 10, 12, 15 passes as we typically do. But I believe that this team can win multiple ways. And I think it sends a message to the rest of the league that if a brawl's going to break out and it's going to be a wrestling match, well, we can win it that way too. Yeah, you know, I just think, to tell you guys the same message I tell the team, we're just looking to improve every game. If we can improve in one aspect, moving towards the playoffs, then we'll put ourselves in a really good position to compete for it all. And right now, the improvement that I'm seeing over the last 4 matches is that fight and that willingness to stick together and that willingness to close down the extra yard out of people like an Andy Williams. And then, you know, as we go forward, can we get the soccer a little bit better? But, you know, I think that it's not enough sometimes to just be down on our team for saying the soccer wasn't good enough tonight. I think that you have to say Kansas City did a pretty good job disrupting that rhythm, and the referee did a fair job of disrupting the rhythm as well.
Jason, with Kyle picking up the yellow late, I believe he'll miss the next match.
He will, yeah.
Is that just kind of par for the course of how the season's going?
Here we go again. Here we go again. Try to figure out who to shift into that position. Gene is a player that for several years now we've been working on him to be in that position, and now this year, because of everything else that's happened, now we're saying, okay, maybe he's a little bit of a forward, and so now he's in two different minds, and it'll be a difficult choice, no doubt.
They threatened numerous times tonight, especially at the end of the game, but your defenders are just able to constantly clear it out.
Mhm.
Specifically your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You just played a
Yeah.
great game, great season. Can you talk about
Yeah,
him a little?
yeah. Nick, you know, again, came up big. This time of the year, when I think of a guy like Nick Raimondo, I always come back to the saying that big players are needed in big matches and make big plays in big matches. And for the last several games, he's made some really, really big plays to get results for us. Because tonight, I think, if he hadn't have been as on his game, I don't think we would have won that game.